As evening unfurled its deep velvet across the world, the stars remained hidden, letting the silver gaze of the moon take center stage. All was quiet on the grassy hill except for a gentle breeze, which wove through the peaks and hollows, lifting strands of grass as if coaxing them into a gentle dance. The air grew cool and crisp, laced with the scent of fresh earth. Every blade of grass, every wildflower, seemed to shimmer as the moonlight slipped over them, turning the hilltop into a secret place awake between dreaming and waking. Luna arrived, her cloak the color of late-blooming lavender, draped carefully around her shoulders. Barefoot, she stepped onto the grass, feeling its soft heat, still clinging to the memory of the sun. She let herself fall back, nestling into the ancient tree at the heart of the hill. Its gnarled roots curved around her in a familiar embrace, forming the contours of a natural armchair, steady and strong. She could feel the heartbeat of the land itself through the roots, pulsing in quiet companionship. The wind danced in her hair, bringing with it the faintest echoes of yesterday's laughter and tomorrow's dreams. With a slow sigh, Luna let her eyes drift shut, settling into the peace that came with old places and gentle night. The slope beneath her rose and fell in long, even breaths. It seemed to Luna that the hill was alive, an old friend perhaps, who hummed softly against her ear, its breath mingling with her own. In the quiet rhythm between heartbeat and wind, she heard it sigh, its voice familiar, laced with mystery and comfort. "Tonight I dream of a candy forest," the hillside seemed to whisper, the words twisting like mist around her ears. "Where every leaf is a peppermint candy, and the stream flows soft strawberry syrup." The words melted into the air, and Luna felt her mind drift, buoyed by warm, sweet dreams. Within her dream, the land transformed. Luna opened her eyes to a world alive with color more vivid than any she had known before. The leaves around her glimmered with the clarity of mint crystals, pale and glistening in the cool, sweet air. Just a breath drew in the scent of peppermint and spun sugar. The ground crunched gently beneath her toes, a strange, satisfying crackle, like stepping upon a sheet of crisp sugar candy. All around her, chocolate mushrooms, tall and glossy, dotted the rolling hillside. Their caps were dusted with delicate falls of powdered sugar, soft as the first snow. As Luna wandered deeper into this wondrous place, she was trailed by waves of strawberry butterflies, their wings translucent and glistening with syrupy hues. As they fluttered by, they left behind them a faint, lingering scent. Sweet as jam cooled on the windowsill. Soon, Luna heard the gentle song of flowing water. She followed it through a grove of candy cane trees, until she came upon a stream wider than a river and sparkling like the morning sun. But this was no ordinary water. The stream flowed thick with strawberry syrup, a cascade of red and pink light, its surface swirling with eddies of sugar and delight. Glinting on the bank were cubes of sugar as clear as glass, each one dyed in pastel shades of blue, pink, orange, and purple. They sparkled softly beneath the syrup's gentle currents, promising their own secret magic. Luna found a leaf. No ordinary leaf, but an enormous mint, bold and green as new hope. She settled onto it, the gentle curve of the leaf forming a perfect little boat. With barely a whisper, the leaf slipped into the strawberry stream, spinning lazily in the current. As Luna drifted along, the candy forest unfolded around her, its paths winding wherever the sweet water dared to run. She breathed in, filling herself with the sense of syrup and mint and possibility. On the banks, bustling with life, sugar squirrels hurried about their business, each one in a tall vanilla ice cream hat. They zoomed along in mushroom motorcars, marshmallow logs piled high behind them. "Welcome to the marshmallow forest, Luna," one of the squirrels called with a laugh and a wave. "Be careful, the marshmallow stream will shake violently." The words were bright as bells, ringing with delight. All around her was a world made for laughter and sweet surprises. Above her, the trees were alive with music. Strawberry jambirds, with feathers soft as silk and wings tinted with a pink blush, perched on candy cane branches. Their song drifted through the air, a lullaby woven from dreams and childhood memories. Flying on the jam branch, Sleep well under the sweet breeze. Strawberries in the wind. Long dreams in the scent of green honey. Luna let her head fall back, the tune wrapping her like a soft blanket. The leaf spun gently downstream. Blooms of buttercup petals fluttered by, stirred by a breeze as soft as a sigh. A popcorn butterfly landed on Luna's nupi, flapping its wings and releasing a cloud of sweet, toasty fragrance that sparkled in the light. In the distance, a castle rose against the sweet sky, built from layer upon layer of butter cookies. Its roof glowed a warm caramel brown, and the gate was studded with dark chocolate candies, shining gems set into delicious stone. A sugar bridge arched gracefully across the syrup river, flanked on either side by columns of red and green lollipops. On the ramparts, a snow cream cat dozed, its whiskers trembling as it dreamed of frosted treats. Drawn onward by wonder, Luna slid from her mint leaf boat and hurried toward the castle gate. She reached out, fingers brushing the caramel arch, warm and smooth, sticky with sweetness. But as she touched it, the world seemed to draw a long, shivery breath, and in her ear sounded the gentlest call, woven from moonlight and memory. Luna, it's time to go back. Her eyes opened to darkness and stars. The sighs of the hill echoed softly around her, threading through her hair. All was calm. Far across the valley, fireflies blinked like wandering stars, chasing after each other in a slow, patient dance. Above, the moon watched the world's gentle sleep. The pussycat would come soon, bringing midnight tales, but for now, Luna lay still, a smile on her lips. She whispered, "Thank you, Hill. Tonight's dream was sweet." And once more the hill sighed, an old friend, a gentle lullaby, rocking Luna and the world back toward sleep. It was late, and silence folded over the valley like a soft green velvet blanket. Moonlight slipped over the hills, transforming every shadow into a place of peaceful magic. In a corner of this hushed world, Luna's shell-shaped house glowed faintly, its heart-shaped window casting a gentle yellow pool onto the grass outside. Inside, Luna sat at her bedside, hugging a cloud-shaped pillow to her chest, her voice barely louder than a whisper as she murmured into the quiet, "Hill, what shall I dream of tonight?" A soft wind crept through the window, stirring the curtains with its cool fingers, and in that whisper came a lullaby, drifting in as naturally as the scent of wildflowers. Tonight I dream of a cat that sings lullabies. His name is Pussycat, his fur is softer than the wind, and a rainbow lying on its side on the prairie, sending my dreams like a paper boat in the night sky. As Luna rested her head on the white cloud pillow, eyes drifting toward the world of sleep, something remarkable happened. A plush, round shape leapt gracefully onto the bed's edge. A milky gray, fluffy cat, larger than any ordinary cat, yet light and silent as a dandelion seed in the breeze. With fur so soft it seemed to shimmer against the moonlight, the cat gazed at Luna with eyes half-mooned and gentle. His voice when he spoke was a blend of honey and the night's quiet murmur. "Hello, Luna. I am the pussycat, the keeper of dreams full and peaceful. Tonight shall we go see the reclining rainbow?" Before Luna could answer, she found herself nestled atop Pussycat's back. It was like sitting on a cloud of morning mist, impossibly soft and comforting. Around her, the familiar shapes of her room began to melt away, dissolving into a fog of possibility. The mist thickened, then thinned, revealing an endless grassland, lush, green, and fragrant with the promise of new beginnings. And in the center of that grassland sprawled a sight as rare as it was beautiful. A tilted rainbow, not arched high in the sky, but lying sideways, stretching across the prairie like a ribbon of color set down for a festival. Its 7 bands glimmered in the moonlight, each as distinct as a melody in a favorite song. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. But here, each color was more than a sight. It was a path, each leading to a unique adventure. Red shimmered with a field of poppies blowing in an invisible wind. Orange sparkled with swarms of golden butterflies chasing each other in lazy loops. Yellow glowed softly, its air thick with the tang of lemons and the sound of distant laughter. Green beckoned with the hush of singing grasses, wild and tall, rustling and harmonizing like an invisible choir. Blue burbled with the secret music of tranquil flowing streams. Indigo flickered with the half-remembered glow of dreams. And violet climbed upward, steps of pure cloud leading toward the edge of possibility. Together, Luna and Pussycat began their journey on the rainbow's green path. The moment her bare feet touched the rainbow, the air was filled with the gentle chime of crystal glasses, each step singing out in celebration. The grass around them grew taller than Luna's shoulders and hummed a melody that seemed woven from the sky itself. We are a lullaby in the sky. Carrying small steps through long dreams. Pussycat looked back at Luna and winked. This rainbow appears only on nights spun from full dreams. Only those who keep their hearts open and their eyes gentle can walk here. They strolled through the symphony of grass, guided by the hum of the earth and the hush of the stars overhead. The grass parted, leading them onward until they reached the purple path, the steps made entirely from plush clouds, soft as the first wisp of morning. Here, Pussycat stopped, pausing to thoughtfully wash a paw. This is the end. From here, the rest of the bridge glides through my own dreams, he whispered, his voice almost swallowed by the galaxy of silence around them. Luna peered over the last cloud step and gasped. Below was a sea of stars, as brilliant and close as dewdrops on a spider's web at dawn. Drifting softly upon this starlit ocean, hundreds of paper boats floated, each folded with care, each glittering faintly. One silver boat stopped directly below Luna, its edges perfectly crisp, as if shaped by a wishing star. With a soft nudge, Pussycat helped Luna into the boat. She felt as though she weighed nothing at all, carried not by wind or current, but by sleepy wishes and moonlight. Go now, Luna, purred Pussycat with a gentle smile. Drift and return before dawn. The sweetest dreams are those we do not keep for ourselves, but let go, so they may come again in new forms. The paper boat glided from the rainbow's end, spun forward on the softest air. Luna lay on her back, cradled under a dome of stars. Each one twinkled like a tiny lantern, and she realized these pinpricks of light were the dreams and wishes of every creature, each an offering of good night from mothers, fathers, nestlings, and even from seeds of grass still waiting to wake and grow. Around her, the starry ocean hummed lullabies. Somewhere far behind, a gentle voice sang, "Sleep well, little prairie girl." The cat has returned to the pillow by the bed. Moonlight faded from her face, and the hush of dawn blossomed on the horizon. Luna stirred, feeling the cool softness of her blanket and hearing the faint flutter of the curtain. It was morning in her shell house. For a moment, she wondered if she'd dreamed at all, or if it had all been real. There at the foot of her bed, curled into a plush gray cloud, slept Pussycat, content and peaceful. The cat lifted his head, blinked sleepily, and with the faintest, almost inaudible purr, settled himself back down. Luna smiled, hugging her pillow, her voice just a wisp in the morning hush. Thank you, it was a gentle night. And so, cradled in the memory of the reclining rainbow and the whispers of the cat, Luna drifted back into the soft beginning of a new day, the magic of dreams lingering just behind her eyelids, full of warmth and gentle promise. On a night where even the grass seemed to hold its breath, and the wind hesitated as if unwilling to disturb the quietude, Luna perched by her window, her thoughts as gentle as her hands on the warm, purring fur of the pussycat. Above her, the full moon drifted low and luminous, casting silver ribbons across the earth, as though drawn close to catch the earth's most secret dreams. The world felt hushed and waiting, woven with a kind of expectancy, as if something magical might soon arrive. Into this silence the old hill whispered, its voice threading through the night like a soft melody. Tonight I dreamed of an owl as big as the hill. On its back was a small house of fragrant wood, and inside were rooms of sleeping memories. Only those who were very quiet could hear the breathing of each dream. The words settled into Luna's heart, their quiet invitation billowing wide inside her like a sail catching an enchanted breeze. Luna smiled, a sweet, sleepy smile, pressing her cheek against the soft pillow by the window. Almost at once, as if the hill's dream had beckoned her, the wind shifted. Luna found herself standing, not in her cozy room, but in the hush of a pine forest. Ancient trees rose all around, sowing shadows and secrets in their tangled roots, their needles glimmering silver in the scattered moonlight. The ground was springy beneath her feet, layered with years of pine needles, a silent, earthy carpet. All around her, anticipation hung in the cool air. From somewhere distant, deep within the sleeping mountains, came a sound. Wings, thick and ponderous, beating time with the heart of the earth itself. Luna turned, her eyes wide, and from behind the ancient trunks, the big owl emerged. The owl was a wonder fashioned from dreams, vast as a house itself, its feathers dark brown and dappled with ashy gray, rippling silently in the moonlight. Its round, luminous eyes gleamed golden, like twin moons, reflecting every lost memory of the night. It moved not with flight, but on enormous taloned feet, each step making the ground quiver softly beneath Luna, in a rhythm that seemed to echo the secret pulse of the hill. Upon the owl's broad curved back rested a little wooden house, so small in comparison that it seemed almost magical. The roof was thick with moss, the color of deep forests. Tiny round windows were set like sweets along the walls, glowing faintly from within. The owl stooped, lowering its wise, silent eyes to Luna's. Eyes that had seen countless nights and carried the weight of forgotten stories. With a voice balmily ancient, like the hush of a stone cave or a library long undisturbed, the great owl greeted her. Its words filled the clearing with their stillness. "Hello, Luna, I am the bearer of forgotten memories. Tonight, would you like to walk in the very dreams you have forgotten?" Her heart quietly steady, Luna nodded. She stepped to the rope ladder that swung gently down from the house's door. Each wooden rung felt alive beneath her feet, warm and fragrant with the scent of cedar, carved with tiny words. Remember, forget, once, have, when. As she climbed, she could almost feel the words humming with all the stories they carried. At the threshold, Luna paused, heart fluttering with that soft tremble that comes not from fear, but from standing on the edge of something mysterious and wonderful. She stepped forward and entered a space outside of time entirely, the house like a pocket sewn into the lining of the night itself. Inside, there were 4 rooms. Each one gave itself away not only by what was seen, but what was felt. Scent, light, and sound braided together to draw her deeper within. The first room held the scent of mother's milk, warm and familiar, mingling with the click-whir of a ceiling fan. A pale yellow scarf fluttered on the wall, and in the center, a small cradle swayed gently. When Luna entered, a lullaby lilted softly in the air. "Oh, my eyes are asleep, the season flows in my hair, the grass in my hands." And there inside the cradle, she saw herself as a tiny baby, cheeks soft, hands curled in sleep. Near her, a gentle warmth radiated, her mother's presence, the touch not remembered in words but in a glow that filled Luna's chest. The song lingered, half familiar, like the way morning light glows just behind closed eyelids. The second room pulled her forward under the delicate tapping of rain against glass. There was always rain here, a fine, silvery mist that brought with it the scent of damp pages and old wood. Stacked books, thick and promising, lined the floor, while Luna's little learning desk stood nearby, scattered with short pencils and pages of carefully written letters. Outside the window hung a light blue raincoat, trailing drops that made tiny constellations on the floor. Luna opened a book. Inside, instead of words, she found the lingering echo of rain, the scratch of a pencil, and her childish laughter, rich and round, when she finally got a word right. She could feel for a moment the pride of that little girl, the world opening wide through the window of a single new letter. The third room tasted and glowed with the warmth of firelight and baking. A hearth flickered red and gold, casting moving shapes on the faded wallpaper. Plates of cookies sat cooling nearby, their scent mingling with the thick old wool blanket draped across the sofa. Grandfather sat reading, his voice a background hum, while grandmother, nimble-fingered, clicked knitting needles, a rhythm as steady as a heartbeat beside the fire. The cat, ever lazy, curled across Luna's lap. She could almost feel the weight, the slow, happy purr, and above it all, the comfort of a loved tale. the boy whose flute lulled even forests to sleep. Sitting here, basking in the quiet love of family, Luna recalled a hidden part of her heart. Long muted by busyness and forgetting, she moved on to the fourth silent room. It was sparse, just a window set into the sky itself. Here there was nothing to see but the wild sweep of stars and cloud. Nothing to hear but the silence of the wind and the universe beyond. In the center waited a lone wooden music box. Luna bent, opened it, and an old song floated out. So faded, so familiar, that it reached back further than words could go, reaching out to touch the very first dream the hill had ever offered her. It was the song of beginnings and endings, of things always waiting deep within. Almost without realizing, Luna closed her eyes. The owl had begun walking again, out across the sleeping prairie, brushing silver streams and climbing shadowy peaks, the little wooden house rocking softly on its feathered back. Deeper and deeper she drifted, not away from herself, but back into the fullest, softest dream of all, where all was memory and possibility at once. When morning came, Luna opened her eyes with slow wonder. The music box was beside her on the tangled woolen blanket, its melody thin as mist but still playing. Cat Kitty watched her, eyelids heavy, asking with a single look if she'd slept well last night. Luna smiled, the memory of ancient songs and gentle hands still in her heart. She answered softly, "Very well," as if lulled by the sound of memories. And in that spring-lit room, it felt as though every dream that whispered through the night was tucked close around her, safe for another day. Night unfolded softly across the land, descending not with the heavy finality of a closing curtain, but with the tenderness of a silken handkerchief, almost invisible as it settled over rooftops and treetops, over hills and valleys and quiet, slumbering meadows. There were no birds to sing the night's arrival, no wind to herald it with a whisper. Even the grass, that always seemed to shimmer regardless of sun or shade, had become utterly still, as if each blade had bowed its emerald head in unison. Inside the small house that sat stoically at the foot of the hill, Luna perched silently by her window. The moonlight, pure and pale, slipped through the glass, tracing a thin white line across the time-smoothed wooden floorboards. It was a private stage, lit only for her, and she watched the distant hill, a gentle giant whose quiet stories had once lulled her to sleep on so many other nights. Yet tonight, the air was different. The hush was deep, a pause that reached all the way to the roots of things. Nothing whispered, nothing stirred. It was as though the very world was suspending its breath, each element holding itself in the soft anticipation between one heartbeat and the next. Luna, her chin resting upon her palm, her eyes wide and searching, finally broke the silence, her voice as light as mist weaving through dawn. "Why doesn't the hill tell me anything?" The words slipped from her lips, barely more than a hopeful sigh drifting into the hush. She didn't expect the question to be answered. She had grown used to the night's secrets, their way of arriving in their own sweet time, or not at all. But then, from nowhere and everywhere at once, a tender breath of air passed. It was so gentle she might have dreamed it, a mere touch on her cheeks, a kindness felt rather than heard. And within that invisible embrace, the hill, the old friend who knew when to speak and when to rest, sent its answer on the faintest whisper. Tonight, not a night of words, not a night of long dreams, but a night for all. To be at peace. I am tired too. And so are you, Luna. A smile softened her features, the kind of smile that comes from deep inside, sleepy and safe. Her eyelids, heavy with tranquility, drifted lower, as though a cloud had wrapped itself tenderly around her eyelashes. She tucked her gray quilt closer around her small body, cocooned now in comfort, her gaze lingering for just a little longer on the swath of sky painted outside her window. At the foot of her bed, her cat, a creature of unhurried grace and endless dreams, had already surrendered to the night. Curled in a perfect crescent, it was a small living echo of the moon outside. Its breath moved just so, quiet as the tide, so slight that only the most careful observer could catch the way its sides rose and fell. Even in sleep, the cat was a part of the silent music of the room. The world outside Luna's window was impossibly still. The night wind did not prowl or tease at the eaves. Trees, stripped of motion, stood sentinel as if honoring a sacred pause. The moon, a lantern above the slumbering land, cast a more gentle light than usual, softened as though someone somewhere had held it in their palms and warmed it with a secret wish. Even the clouds had stolen away, choosing, perhaps, to rest their own tired forms. Inside the wooden walls of Luna's room, the quiet deepened. If she listened with her whole self, body and mind and heart, she could almost hear the softness of her cat's fur settling into the pillow, could nearly catch the shy fragrance of chamomile tea weaving its way through her dreams. Nothing called to her from distant lands of sweets. The great owl remained in its sky-perched reverie. Not even the fabled listening garden, with its promise of wonders, reached out to her tonight. Instead, there was only this, pure rest, absolute and unbroken. It was a night to be no one and nothing. No need to dream, no need to remember or wish. In the gentlest pause, Luna found herself released from the obligation of thought. There was just the peace of being, and that was more than enough. Turning under her quilt, she whispered a good night, her voice a secret for the hill alone. There was no reply, but the room, the very earth beneath her bed, seemed to exhale. The boards creaked softly, not in protest but in comfort, as if settling a child with a lullaby woven from the breath of soil and the weight of dew. Even the hill, so often a companion in words and quiet stories, had nothing more to say. It had given its last exhalation, soft as velvet and lighter than the thinnest strand of a cloud drifting at dawn. And as that gentle sigh faded, so did the boundaries of waking life. 1,000 invisible dreams drifted down, feather light, collecting around Luna like a snowfall too delicate to be witnessed, meant only to brush sleep against shutters and lips and hearts. That night, the whole world slept. Leaves, moon, hill, cat, Luna, all alike in their surrender to the miracle of stillness. In the silence, there was a lullaby too deep for words, a song for those so tired, not just of the day, but of the ceaseless call to dream and to try and to imagine. The night itself sang, "To rest is also a miracle." And so, embraced by silence, cooled by the hush of the earth, and warmed by the quiet pulse of a tired hill, Luna drifted into the sea of sleep, letting go of everything but peace.